Hello and welcome back to David Talking Tech and Audio. It's Tuesday, which means it's time for our Audition Tuesday tutorial. And this week I'm going to show you how to make your voice sound better in your audio projects. If you've already subscribed, thank you so much. And if you haven't, what's stopping you? Now's a good time. The buttons are just down there. And don't forget, not only subscribe, but to turn on all notifications as well, so you never miss another one of these videos. Just to remind you, there is a brand new episode of Minus 16, my podcast out. There are links to it in the description under this video. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on Google Podcasts too. And there's also links as to where you can find my blogs over on Medium. Right, inside of Adobe Audition, there are some very simple steps you can take to make your voice sound better. And it's time we look at those right now. Okay, let's get to work on improving this voice, shall we? Say you were going to be sending this file out for a podcast at the end of the day. Just to mention, I'm only using native effects that you'll find inside of Adobe Audition. No third-party plugins on this tutorial. So any effects I use, you will find in your copy of Audition as well. A couple of things I would suggest you do just to make your work a little easier is first of all open the editor window by pressing this button so you can see in real time the changes that you're making, and also Shift D to have spectral display open, and you'll see why that's important in just a few moments time. And don't forget, we are working destructively because we're in the waveform editor. So the first thing we're going to do is to look to get rid of this background noise. A couple of ways that you can go about doing this. There's always more than one way, as you know. You can go into denoise and use their denoise plugin they added into Audition a couple of years back. Simply go to heavy noise reduction, don't do anything, and you can see that now it's gone virtually all to black. It's got rid of virtually all the background noise. The idea of this video isn't to explain to you how these processes work, simply to help you make your voice sound better quickly. So that is one way that you can get rid of background noise. If I just remove that, and equally, if I just normalize that, that is what we're contending with. That is all background noise in my studio. So I've shown you one way to get rid of background noise. The other way that I prefer is by going into the dynamics pane, making sure that everything else is unticked apart from the auto gate, which is basically a noise gate. These settings tend to work pretty well, and look how that has worked. All of that background noise has gone. So we've got rid of background noise on our voice. That's brilliant. We can see also some sibilance there, around about 7,000K. So while we're in here, let's add ourselves in a de-esser. We know it's around about 7,000 hertz that we're looking at, and around about 30% reduction tends not to be too aggressive. So we now know that we are working on the background noise has gone. We've done some sibilance work to get rid of some of those sounds. The next thing we're going to do is add a little bit of EQ onto our voice, and you know I love the parametric EQ. I've done a whole video on it before. If we just go back to some defaults, again, very basic settings you want to work on here. Roll off about 100 hertz at the bottom end, plosives, any rumble in the room, that will help eliminate those noises. And always, always, always add yourself on a little bit of high-end shimmer by adding on some highs there. And don't forget, you can change the shape of this shelf. You can have it quite aggressive. For this, I prefer something more subtle, and we just added on some shimmer there. And of course, you know how to use the parametric EQ. You would just simply make yourself a narrow Q width, find the areas that you think are problematical, and then simply notch them out. So we've rolled off the bass, we've added some shimmer. The next thing we're going to do is now compress the voice. If I just turn this off for a moment and turn off spectral, we can see that pretty much anything over -9, -10 is where we need to be looking at to compress the voice. So we are going to add ourselves in a compressor now. Again, you could go into the dynamics window and use the compressor that's built in there, but I prefer the other compressor that I've covered before, which is the tube model compressor. And if we now know, say, anything over -10 is what we're looking to affect, we're going to compress it by 4 to 1, which means that anything that exceeded -10 decibels on our original audio, we're going to reduce by 1/4 at the output. Nice quick attack, quick release. Output gain I'm not too worried about, and I'll show you why in just a moment. And we have now compressed our voice. So again, I just turn this off, turn off spectral, and apply. That is now a processed voice. So there's one more thing I am going to do before we save this out, and that is to match loudness. If I drag this file into the match loudness window, in the old days people often used to normalize to -6, -3. I prefer to go a more exacting method now. If we just scan this file at the moment, we can see we're at 22, which is not bad. Say if I was exporting this file to use in a Premiere Pro project for a YouTube video, that's probably what I'd be going for. This is going out for podcast though, so we want to be in here at -16. You would then simply run that, and if we scan that now, -16, and we could save that out to wherever you want, and you have got yourself a processed voice where we've got rid of background noise, we have de-essed it, we've added some EQ, and we've compressed it, and then we've matched it to the correct loudness, so that file is ready to go out to your podcast host. Let me know in the comments how you've got on using these 4 or 5 simple steps to make your voiceovers and podcasts sound just amazing. I'd love to know. Pop over to my website, talkingtechandaudio.com, leave me your contact details and you can become part of the members mailing list. I send out a video every Sunday afternoon and I'd love to include you on it. And at the end of this video, I'm going to go into greater detail how to set up and use the parametric EQ that we briefly touched on today. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching and I'll catch you on the next one.